Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. In today's video, we'll be taking takeaways from yesterday's game versus Le Havre. As this was Paris Saint-Germain's first official game of the season, we got to see some tactics in the first two preseason games, but this was an actual competitive professional game where we could look and take a look at how Paris Saint-Germain will be playing for the rest of the season and what has Lucho tweaked from the past season. Thing up, I want to talk about the animation. Obviously, last season, we always played in the 4-3-3 animation when the game starts, but with us being a possession side and always having possession, we always switch to a 3-2-5. But the main thing that has changed, as you can see, when last season it was Hakimi tucking in with the single pivot. This season it's changed with there being a double pivot with Vitinha, Warren, Zaire in that double pivot, and Hakimi being off the right with the right winger tucking in and becoming a right cam. We can see here in game, you can see all the three defenders. You have Pacho down here, you have Zag, you have Beraldo completing the three at the back, you have Vitinha, Warren completing the double pivot, Hakimi and Baye holding off the left wings, Gonçalo centrally, and Asensio and Kangili in this number 10 on the right and number 10 on the left draw, pretty much, which is very similar to a duo we will mention soon. But this is how pretty much the lineup looked, with Paris Saint-Germain having 73 possession in yesterday's game. And here's even more proof of Hakimi hugging that touchline inside of tucking in anymore. But I wanted to take a look at two special players from the beginning here, and that is Marco Asensio and Tanguy Lee, who played as the left cam and the right cam in this lineup. So we'll take a little bit deeper look at them two indirectly. So obviously last season in those two positions, it was majority of the time Fabian Ruiz being on the left side and Warren Zaire progressing upwards to the right side between Dembele and the striker, which was Kylian Mbappe. But obviously in this game, it was Tanguy Lee and Marco Asensio instead. When we take a look at their heat map, it's not just that Tanguy Lee was a right cam and Asensio was a left cam. No, they were moving everywhere. I think we've never seen pretty much a free roll like this, especially on the Luis Enrique, maybe Kylian Mbappe last season. But I think this will be a huge thing for Paris Saint-Germain this season. These two number 10s interchanging, dropping deep, helping the press, creating chances, and scoring goals, obviously. I think this will be the huge thing for PSG this season now that we're missing Kylian Mbappe, because we have a lot of players that can play in that position, including Asensio and Tanguy Lee, as we just saw, new signing Desiree Doué, Fabian Ruiz. Dembele can also play centrally, so there will be a lot of tough competition for those two most important positions for PSG this season. Obviously, João Neves even played there when he came on, but looking at the stats just from the game from Asensio and Tanguy Lee, who got brought off both in like the 65th, 68th minute, they had one goal between them, two big chances missed, 4 key passes, 120 touches, 1 more work, and 5 shots on goal. We can see that they had a very great game, impacting the game in many different ways, obviously most of them being offensive. And even though a lot of people were questioning Asensio's performance, he had 3 key passes. He still created chances in this game for Koulibaly, for Mbaye, and so on. And Tanguy Lee, we obviously know he got the goal, he got hit the post as well. But I think that this number 10 position on both sides, which is very similar to do as I mentioned before, and that is Lionel Messi and Neymar Jr. Under Christophe Galtier, we played also a 3-2-5. Verratti, Vitinha in the pivot, 3 defenders, Hakimi, Nuno hugging the touchline, Mbappe up front, and Messi and Neymar. This is what Lucho is trying to recreate now at Paris Saint-Germain, having 2 surreal playmakers. And the thing is, Asensio, it can definitely be improved on. We have better profiles. We have better players that can play that position. And even when it comes to Tanguy Lee, he had a great game, but we have other players that can be competing with that position as well, including Ousmane Dembele, as I mentioned before. Next up, I want to talk about the midfield duo. Obviously, it was Vitinha, Warren, Zaire the entire game, but there was someone that came on that, you know, outperformed Warren Zaire for those 90 minutes, and that was João Neves. So I want to go deeply into Vitinha and João Neves, what they two did in this game, because they between them had 2 assists, 160 accurate passes, 4 key passes, 188 touches, 24 passes into the final third, 19 long balls, 8 duels won, and 9 defensive actions. It was a complete midfield performance from the 2 Portuguese magician. Absolute stunning performance, and just dominating deep areas with the passing, progressive passing, assists, key passes, long balls. It was a complete performance. I mean, Vitinha dropped a masterclass. João Neves dropped a masterclass in only 45 minutes. Vitinha has been the best midfielder in 2024. I think every person that has a functioning brain would agree with that take. João Neves has been a very interesting player for Benfica this season. Obviously, didn't get any minutes at Portuguese national team, but now that we have these 2 gems, it will be crazy. It will be crazy. Because this was João Neves' debut. Usually players, they have to, it takes them time to adapt to opposition, to their teammates. Joao Neves put in a great cross for Dembele that gave us the lead. Like, this is an exceptional duo for the upcoming seasons, and obviously this season. Next duo I wanted to look at is the centre-back partnership. Obviously, Marquinhos did not start in this game, and Zag was tucking in with the two, but that's why Lucas Beraldo and Pacho are so great of a partnership. I'm going to show you two pictures. The first one is here, Beraldo making a great progressive pass. Kangili dribbled and created a chance from it, and the second one is Pacho making an incredible tackle. And that's the thing I like between these two. They are so compatible together. So even though Marquinhos gets an injury or something, because he had some injury issues last season, I'm not that worried, even in the big Champions League games. Obviously, I still want to see more from Pacho and so on, but just purely looking from these stats, we can see that Beraldo, he took care of the passing, 128 passes, 14 passes into the final third, with 4 out of 4 long balls completed. Whilst Pacho had 1 block, 4 clearances, 9 defensive actions, 5 recoveries, and 4 duels won. This is a perfect combination. It's very similar to when we had Marquinhos and Prasnel Kimpembe or Thiago Silva or Kimpembe. Thiago Silva and Marquinhos was the more calm centre-back, more with the passing range and all of that, whilst Kimpembe was more the aggressive, defensive, duel-winning guy, and that's exactly what Pacho is. So I'm really enjoying this partnership so far, and yeah, let's see what we can see for the rest of the upcoming games. And last but not least, I have to give some prop to, the two players that came on and changed the game. Only 90 minutes played, but 1 goal each for both players, and created tons of danger. So yeah, huge prop for them. But now let's go into all the chances that Paris Saint-Germain created, because that's another important thing from this game I want to talk about, because the different variety of chances created, obviously more than half of them came from counterattacks, because the Havre parking the bus, and most teams in the world, they create most of their chances when there is more space. We can take a look at all the chances here. We can see that Asensio's here, giving it to Hakimi, to Gonçalo, to Kangili, obviously for the first goal. And Kangili and Hakimi, as I showed before, they can still interchange. Hakimi tucking in here, and Kangili is on the side here, meaning that the left back has to follow Hakimi, and Kangili is completely open to score this banger early on. Second chance created was this one, obviously Hakimi putting in a cross to Randal Colomani. This is something maybe that we usually couldn't do last season, with majority of the games Kylian Mbappe starting as the striker. So this is something now, obviously hit the crossbar, a bit unlucky for Colomani, but this is another kind of arsenal that Paris Saint-Germain have, which is crosses into the box. Vitinha here breaking 3 lines, giving it to Asensio. Asensio once again missed the chance, but like, this is something we didn't see last season, and that's another thing I was talking about last season, which is that we attacked a lot from the wings, especially the right side, with the Hakimi, Dembele being probably the best creative side in Europe's top 5 leagues last season. But what I wanted to see was more central playmaking, because that's what we need against teams that are parking the bus, such as Le Havre did yesterday. And that's exactly what Vitinha does here, feeding Asensio with that ball through pass. And one other thing I have to mention, after rewatching the entire game, long balls. Obviously, we saw from the stats, Vitinha had like 15 out of 15 long balls. Joao Neves had 4 out of 4. But these created so many chances from us. And I don't actually remember Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously, we did long balls last season, but we're close to what we did in this game. It was absolutely complete and created a lot of our dangerous chances. Obviously, we have this one. Vitinha gives it to Asensio. Asensio back to Mbaye, and a great save from the goalkeeper. And then it was here, once again, it's Marco Asensio, gives it to Colo, straight at the keeper. And here, Kangili, just a bit of magic, gets it there, bam. And we can see all the lost chances. It's Kangili and it's Asensio being part of the play, which is once again beautiful to see. And as I talked about the 2 number 10s in the system, once again, here's a long ball from Vitinha, gives it to Joao. Joao with the cross. Another thing that I mentioned, we didn't do that much last season. And surprisingly, Dembele scores from the header. Once again, Joao Neves with a long ball, switch to Barcola, who gets put in a 1v1 and then a 2v1, cooks the 2 defenders, scores a beautiful goal. And then obviously, once again, Vitinha with a breakthrough pass here between the lines to Barcola. Barcola finds Colomani, and it's a penalty, and Colomani converts it. And last but not least, once again, Joao Neves breaking 3 lines here, gives it to Randal Colomani. Barcola, who dribbles past, and Hakimi nearly scores a tap-in. So for me, the variety of the chances that Paris Saint-Germain created yesterday is great to see. We even got a chance from a corner. Vitinha also did another pass to Marco Asensio, which I don't have here. So a lot of We created so many chances, but a lot of them are so different. We also added long balls, switch of play, which created a lot of dangerous chances for Paris Saint-Germain in this game. And as I said, Marco Asensio and Kangin, at least for the time that they were in the pitch, contributed to pretty much every single Paris Saint-Germain attack in that game, which just talks about the new thing that Lucho has in his mind. Now I want to talk about some weaknesses in this game. The first one being ball playing out of the back. Donnarumma attempted 1 out of 4 long balls, and succeeded only with one of them, and it's not a great tactic. We do not have players that can chest the ball down and so on. We have great technical players, so we need to be playing out of the back. Even if we're not the best, even with the players that are on the pitch are not the best, we have to get better at it, and that's what I'm hoping Lucho to do. But lastly, I wanted to look obviously at where Le Havre created pretty much all of their chances, and that was set pieces. First corner kick for Le Havre in this game, and they obviously scored from it. Thankfully, it was disallowed. And then here a set piece, completely open here on the left side, puts it in. Very similar to the Openda goal we conceded in preseason versus RB Leipzig, and it's 1-1 suddenly. And obviously, this was a huge mistake from Zag, so I can't really blame it on Lucho tactics or the PSG players and so on. Maybe Donna could do a bit better there towards the end. But weaknesses, we got to get better ball playing at the back. One improvement I'm seeing is progression through deep blocks. Even though Le Havre parked the bus for majority of the game and we had 73% possession, we still created enough chances to beat them and dominate them for the game. And yeah, set pieces. I think set pieces will always be a problem for us, but they can obviously be improved. Luis Enrique has to improve it. I don't want to be scared every single corner we concede against Paris Saint-Germain. But the last point I want to talk about has to do with this. So from the game, Neves 2 assists, Dembele 1 goal, Kolomani 1 goal, Ramos 1 assist, Barcola 1 goal, Kangin 1 goal. And this all goes along with the quote from Luis Enrique: solution of replacing someone who scored 40 goals this season. If a player scores 40 goals, it'd be great. It's better to have 4 players scoring 12 each. That would be 48, which is more than 40. It's an exciting challenge, a challenge to show it's a team sport. And obviously Kylian Mbappé, for example, last season in our competitions got 44 goals for Paris Saint-Germain, whilst the rest of the PSG players got 56 goals combined. And that's Mbappé getting, 44% of all Paris Saint-Germain goals. This is something that obviously needs to change because we do not have a superstar like Kylian Mbappé. We do not have a player that can score that many goals and that we can build a team around. And that's what Lucho has done. He's created chances for everyone else. As we saw, every single goal was scored by 4 different players. And the assists pretty much were all from different players apart from the João Neves assist. So what we're seeing is that Luis Enrique is making this team different. He's compensating for the loss of Mbappe in a great way. He's understood that he's lost Mbappe. Some managers are a bit arrogant when they lose certain kind of players and think they can do the same thing without them. That's not the thing. You can't do it. And that's why Lucho has changed it. And we're looking at a more offensive lineup with the 2 number 10s, 2 fullbacks attacking, 1 staying back, and then another potential winger on the left in Bradley Barcola, a striker up top, and a double pivot that can also create stuff dangerously offensively, as we saw from Vitinha and all the long balls he completed. So, takeaways from Le Havre is that Paris Saint-Germain have switched, they have tweaked. Lucho has changed some of the tactics from last season. For example, Hakimi not inverting anymore and strictly hugging the touchline. Dembele coming a bit more centrally, which is pretty much the right winger coming a bit more central and becoming a right cam instead of a right winger. We've also seen the double pivot come into play. We've also seen the defenders being a bit different and how they play. Sometimes it was a 2 at the back, and I do believe that if Nuno Mendes played instead of Zag, we'd be more offensive on that left side. But yeah, the 2 number 10s, that's the interesting thing for me. I'm very excited what we will see for the rest of the season when it comes to those 2 number 10s and how they will eventually play for us and who the 2 players will be. Obviously, we saw João Neves having his great performance as that left cam. Will he be a starter for the rest of the season in that position? Will it be Fabian Ruiz? Will it be Desiree Doué? Will Kangin? Will Asensio just have an interesting season? I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if I missed anything from the Paris Saint-Germain Le Havre game. But that's been it from your boy PSG, and as usual, allez Paris.